Imagine waking up tomorrow, opening a satellite map of Earth, and the entire Amazon rainforest is just gone. Somewhere in South America, right now, a forest bigger than the entire United States minus Alaska is quietly keeping the planet alive. Today we're asking, what if it just vanished? Not slowly, not over decades, gone overnight. And once you see what actually happens hour by hour, you'll understand why scientists aren't just worried about this as a thought experiment. The Amazon spans 9 countries and covers over 5 million square kilometers. Around 1 in every 10 known species on Earth lives here. More than 40,000 plant species, 16,000 kinds of trees, nearly 400 billion individual trees. It stores somewhere between 150 and 200 billion tons of carbon, more than a third of all the carbon held in tropical forests worldwide. If it disappeared today, we wouldn't just lose a forest. We'd lose one of the planet's most powerful climate regulators, and the shock waves would reach almost everywhere. Let's start the clock. Hour 1. The immediate physical shock hits local ecosystems first. The process begins almost immediately. Jaguars, harpy eagles, pink river dolphins, giant anteaters, spectacled bears. More than 400 indigenous tribes, some of the 30 million people who call the Amazon basin home, lose their land, their food source, and their way of life in an instant. Hour 6. The forest's water cycle begins to collapse. This is where most people underestimate the Amazon completely. The trees don't just sit there, they actively pump water into the sky. At least 75% of the moisture that falls as rain in the Amazon gets recycled straight back into the atmosphere by the forest itself. And that cycle repeats 5 or 6 times as the water vapor drifts west toward the Andes. Scientists call these atmospheric flows flying rivers, literal rivers of water vapor moving through the sky, carrying more water than the Amazon River itself carries on the ground. Take away the forest, and those flying rivers stop flowing within hours. Hour 24. Local temperatures in the basin start climbing fast. A living rainforest creates its own microclimate through shade, humidity, and constant evaporation. Strip that away, and bare soil is suddenly exposed to direct tropical sun for the first time in millions of years. The ground starts baking almost immediately. By the end of week 1, the consequences stop being local. Those flying rivers we just talked about aren't a small detail. They supply more than 70% of all rainfall in parts of southern Peru and northern Bolivia. Countries that don't have a single acre of rainforest within their borders depend entirely on moisture generated by the Amazon. Cut the source, and agricultural regions across Bolivia, Paraguay, and northern Argentina start losing the rain they rely on to grow food, almost overnight. That's where this stops being an environmental story. By month 1, something much bigger becomes impossible to ignore. Brazil's agricultural heartland, much of which paradoxically depends on rain generated by the very forest being cleared to make room for farmland, starts to fail. Rivers that the forest helps sustain begin shrinking. Hydropower dams that supply electricity across the region start losing capacity as water levels drop. Here's something worth pausing on, because a lot of videos on this topic oversimplify. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth, but that nickname is misleading if you take it literally. A mature rainforest doesn't produce a huge net surplus of oxygen over the long term. Most of the oxygen it creates through photosynthesis is eventually used again through respiration and decomposition. What the Amazon actually does that's irreplaceable is different, and arguably even more important. It stores vast amounts of carbon, and it helps generate the rainfall that much of South America depends on. Losing it wouldn't leave us gasping for oxygen. It would destabilize the climate and disrupt the water supply for hundreds of millions of people. By month 6, the picture gets darker. Remember all that stored carbon? Up to 200 billion tons of it? Without living trees to hold it in place, decomposition and fire release enormous amounts of it back into the atmosphere. Researchers from Princeton University modeled exactly this kind of scenario and found that converting the Amazon to open land would push global temperatures up by roughly 1/4 degree Celsius, even if the rest of the world kept cutting emissions everywhere else. On a planet already fighting to stay below dangerous warming thresholds, that's a massive setback delivered in a single event. By year 1, the ripple effects reach places that have never seen a single Amazon tree. A study from Princeton and the University of Miami modeled the disappearance of the Amazon and found it would disrupt rainfall patterns as far away as the northwestern United States, including the Sierra Nevada snowpack that cities and farms across California depend on for their water supply. Let that sink in. A forest thousands of miles away, gone overnight, and within a year, water shortages start showing up in California. Now here's the part that should actually unsettle you more than anything else in this video. This isn't just a hypothetical. It's an extreme, compressed version of something that is already happening in slow motion, right now, in real life. Scientists have been warning for years about something called the Amazon tipping point, a threshold beyond which the forest can no longer generate enough recycled rainfall to sustain itself, and starts irreversibly converting into dry savanna. Climate scientist Carlos Nobre and other researchers place that threshold somewhere between 20 and 25% total deforestation. We've already lost around 17% of the original forest to logging, agriculture, and fire. And in the southern and eastern Amazon specifically, some regions have already crossed that lower threshold. Those areas are already experiencing longer dry seasons, more severe droughts, and rainfall that's becoming less predictable year by year. So the countdown in this video isn't science fiction dressed up as entertainment. It's what the slow-motion version of this process looks like, sped up to 24 hours, so you can actually see the chain reaction happen in real time. Species loss, water cycle collapse, regional drought, global rainfall disruption, carbon release. Every single one of those dominoes is already tipping, just much more slowly than what we described today. In one day in this scenario, around 10% of Earth's known species suddenly lose their primary habitat. In a month, an entire continent's rainfall patterns start breaking down. In a year, water shortages show up in places as far away as California. And on the real timeline, the one actually unfolding right now, researchers believe parts of this could become irreversible within decades if deforestation continues on its current path. The Amazon isn't just a forest sitting quietly in South America. It's one of the load-bearing walls of the planet's climate system. And right now, we're finding out exactly how much weight that wall is holding up. The question is whether we stop pushing it before it gives way.